So here's the latest bit of entertainment floating around the NBA social media verse. Can't remember where I found it, but the conversation has been on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and it all started with Shaq basically saying that the 2001 Lakers would easily defeat these Warriors. And I'm pretty sure that makes him like the, I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood of the 1000th legend to say that his historic roster would just wipe the floor with this all-time team we got here. You know, forget the all-time shooting and the great defense and the all-stars and all that. Basically, the pattern that I've seen over this last couple of years is that if the team was great and it existed before the year 2005, then apparently it just would not have any issues with wiping the floor with the team that's got 3 all-time shooters, 5 all-stars total, moves the ball and plays great offense and defense. Yeah, who do we have on this list now? The 01 Lakers, I heard the 04 Pistons could kill this team. Of course, some of the Bulls teams are in there. I don't know, basically any legendary team, like I said, before 05. They just have no problem with the Warriors, right? Hey, here's what NBA Facebook thinks about this. NBA today is soft. You think Curry going drive to the hole. I'm pretty sure that's the wrong hole. Or KD, the MF 180 together, you think they getting a layup in the hole again, huh? Fuck outta. Okay, man. NBA Facebook, bro, that's plus 10 for you guys over there. This other guy here says, all you have to do is go over the screen. Warriors never had a center that can shoot. That's what we've been missing this whole time. Over these last few years, all you've got to do is go over Warrior screens. That'll snuff them out real quick. Plus, it's not like DeMarcus Cousins can shoot, right? They got Cousins on the roster. He's a big man, he plays center, and he can definitely shoot threes. Okay, so that's wrong. And then, okay, I'm done after this. He doesn't even know the players and what they did on the Lakers. Rick Fox, Robert Horry, them there, would we bully the Warriors? I'm fucking done with this. I'm sorry. Alright, so NBA Facebook is not the move. However, I did see some compelling arguments in other places, because this is an interesting conversation. The 01 Lakers, I'm not sending any disrespect their way. Kobe and Shaq were a juggernaut back in the day. They only lost one game that entire championship run. Ironically, to the Sixers. You would have thought they lost to somebody in the West, but it was to the Iverson-led Sixers. And they did have a good team. I don't need to sit here and rave about how great Kobe and Shaq were. That was a thing back then, we know that. But I feel like when this conversation comes up, specifically with Kobe and Shaq in any modern team, people just use Shaq as a trump card and that's it. Oh, Shaq is gonna score 60 points and grab 30 rebounds against the Warriors and that's gonna be game. Who's gonna guard Shaq? It just all centers around Shaq. And okay, fair enough, because I don't think that there's ever been a player really capable of guarding Shaq. Like, there's only a couple of videos on YouTube where you can see somebody forced him to have a bad game. Like, I've seen Dennis Rodman give him trouble sometimes. Hakeem obviously gave him trouble, but Shaq still put up numbers against him. That was more just like a really good duel where Hakeem got the best of him. But just straight up, yeah, nobody can handle Shaq, we know this. But the thing I never see anybody talk about, and specifically as it pertains to him playing the Warriors, what is Shaq's defensive role against Golden State? I don't understand why it only goes one way and not the other. First of all, most of Shaq's defensive impact was down low. It was down near the rim where he could protect it, where he could get blocks. Shaq was not like modern big men. See, we've gotten spoiled from watching guys like Embiid and Anthony Davis, where it's a regular thing for them to have to be able to step out and guard the perimeter for a bit when they get mixed up in pick and roll action or pick and pop action. We've gotten really spoiled on that. Shaq was very lazy on defense. He's not going to be the guy out there hanging with a super quick guard when he gets switched. And that right there is my main problem with how the Lakers would have to play the Warriors. Cause it goes back to a video I made a couple of months ago talking about how they're going to have a legit death lineup. They're going to have their death lineup when they insert Cousins simply because of the fact he can shoot. He doesn't have to be everything he was earlier with the Pelicans or with the Kings. He does not ever have to be 100% again. Cousins was dropping three-pointers at a very high clip before the injury. So when you mix that into pick and pops with Steph Curry, you talk about the offense that the Warriors play with how they're all moving and setting screens, Shaq is going to have a very heavy defensive responsibility that he's not used to playing in that role. He's not going to be able to sit in the paint. This is not the 2017 Warriors that had JaVale McGee, or if they didn't have a traditional big man on the floor, then it was their small lineup with Iguodala in there. With Cousins in the lineup, they don't have to go small to light someone up anymore. So all 5 positions will be able to shoot threes or shoot from anywhere on the floor really. And I had someone tell me earlier that Shaq was going to be able to defend the paint. That's his defensive role. How is he going to defend the paint? Who is he going to leave open? Okay, you can say he prefers to, stick him on Draymond Green and he prefers to leave Draymond Green open over anybody else. That doesn't mean he can just sit in the paint. The Warriors are going to run screens. They're going to put him in that action to make him uncomfortable. So if Shaq just falls back in the paint, and let's just say, for instance, you're running Kevin Durant and Draymond Green, you're running pick action between them. So you're telling me that your plan is to go over the screen to stick on Kevin Durant, which means then he can just blow by you. And we know KD can shoot from anywhere, it doesn't have to be at the rim. So you can go over it if you want, but that's just going to take one thing away from KD. You can't take away everything from him. And okay, by the way, who is the person guarding KD? Are we sticking Kobe on him? Somebody's going to be able to light it up, because you're not about to tell me they have 3 guys that can just totally put the clamps on KD, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry all in one night. Yeah, this whole thing about Shaq just being in the paint on defense, the Warriors don't just sit around and play isolation basketball. They have not been ISO heavy since the days of Mark Jackson. They move around, they set screens for each other, they cut. The defense has to be on its P's and Q's and everybody's got to be locked in. Nobody, especially with Cousins in the lineup, nobody can just sit back and enjoy a freebie against his roster. And back to the part about the Kevin Durant and Draymond screen, if that's something that they run. Assuming Shaq is back in the paint, you still don't want to just leave Draymond open all night. Again, that's the preference from anybody else on the floor, but it's not like he can't knock down a shot. And I'm not even saying this like the Lakers are just scrubs and they're peons compared to the Warriors, because they've got their own offensive game plan. Yeah, Cousins isn't a small guy, but Shaq is still going to eat. I agree with you on that. Shaq is definitely going to eat on offense. But they're going to have a massively difficult time guarding this Warriors team on defense. Kobe's going to get his, and they've got good support pieces too. Robert Ory's a stretch big. You've got Derek Fisher out there to knock down shots. But it simply comes down to a game of firepower. With the Lakers already having that issue of having to be able to guard the Warriors, that's just with Shaq alone. Y'all are not about to sit here and talk to me like Derek Fisher's just about to clamp up Steph Curry. Or like Rick Fox can just somehow clamp KD. Kawhi Leonard can't even clamp KD. The Lakers' best chance to beat them would be foul trouble. I keep seeing this thing about how Shaq is gonna foul out Draymond Green. But that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because Draymond Green wouldn't be guarding Shaq, DeMarcus Cousins would. And of course that's just a size thing. Draymond is the better defender, but you don't want Draymond down there. And then the game plan might just be to let Shaq get his. Maybe if you're Cousins, you don't foul him, don't risk fouling him. Let him get his because he is not going to score 110 or 120 points. So meanwhile, Shaq is down there doing his things, and most of them, they're all going to be 2-pointers. The Warriors are going to be raining threes. They are going to be taking huge advantage of the fact that Shaq is not like these modern big men in terms of switching and perimeter defense. He's not like that. Shaq is a lot of things, but an amazing aware defender around the perimeter and switching, that's one thing that he's not. I did see one interesting point though, because someone did bring up the fact that, well, what rules would they be playing under? Because we tend to forget that, it's 2018, so this Lakers team is like 17 years old. Hand checking had not been completely thrown out of the game yet. So one argument I read is about how, okay, well, Steph is going to have problem with hand checking. He's going to have problems scoring there. And to that, I just say this. If you think that hand checking is just going to completely shut Steph Curry down, even if you're playing under those rules, you're just going to open up another part of his game. Steph shoots threes the way he does today because he's made it such an effective weapon. But okay, if you want to play him up close, you're acting like Steph doesn't have amazing ball handling skills and like he's not able to just get to the rim. So there's two things here. Either for some reason Shaq is near the paint and he's not standing by the 3-point line guarding DeMarcus Cousins. So of course I'm not really betting on Steph finishing a lot over Shaq, but if Shaq is in the paint, somebody's open. And if Shaq is not in the paint, now somebody has to come help on Steph Curry or else he's got a wide open layup. So that's just typical driving kick, right? You've gotten way up close to Steph, he's gotten by you. If there's not a big man down there, somebody's got to step in. Maybe someone stepping in from Draymond Green, but there's also the chance that you're stepping off of Kevin Durant or Klay Thompson. These are just a couple of defensive scenarios I'm throwing out there that make it really hard to defend them. But you know what, NBA Facebook told me that without a doubt Derek Fisher could just lock up Steph. And whatever, I guess that's not a horrible take. I mean, it's not like we've seen better defenders try to lock up Steph than Derek Fisher before. So this is not just confined to the Lakers. Any traditional old team would have these same problems trying to guard these Warriors. And that's what puzzles me so much. because people understand this. A lot of people understand the basics of basketball and how the game is played. Simple things like how you have to guard pick and rolls or pick and pops, what having so many shooters on the floor can do. Like, I thought that was the reason why people are so mad that this team is the way it is, because they don't think anyone else has a chance. So why all of a sudden, why is it when an older team comes up, just all of a sudden, oh, they just wash this team? You know, it's this thing that I found that the nostalgia side of NBA fans is really just as bad as the side that thinks there was just no talent in the NBA before 2005 or 2007. Like, everybody was just a plumber back then, right? Yeah, both of these sides, they're equally as bad, to be honest. If you were to tell me that the 01 Lakers could take the 2016 Warriors, or you know what, even a better matchup would be the 17 or 18 Warriors. The Warrior squads where they either have to have a real center or play small ball, then I'm saying, okay, you know what, I think the Lakers have an advantage there. But where they've brought most of their small ball talents into their starting lineup by adding Cousins, if that team is healthy, if everybody's playing, I am taking that roster to beat any team in NBA history, any day of the week.